Welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to take a closer look at Nvidia. The company is expected to report earnings tomorrow, but there are a lot of recent updates that the company has announced in the past week or so, and we're going to take a closer look at that in today's episode. Also, you might be wondering, Jose, where the heck have you been? It's been over a week since you've released a video, especially here in the semiconductor market. I have some great news. My little one was born, so I did take about some time off. Obviously, after this video, I'm going to go back to the sleepless nights that I have been having, but they've been amazing. And thank you to all my subscribers and all of my viewers and everybody for the support who kind of gave me and my family some great messages. So appreciate that. And obviously, for the first video, I had to do Nvidia. So let's take a closer look in today's episode. So I think the first big news or event happening here for Nvidia is on May 24th, after the market closes, they are going to report their first quarter fiscal year 2024 results. And I'm super excited, right? Because the stock, fortunately, is up over 115% year to date, sitting at $307. And I want to say this is going to be a very interesting earnings. We are seeing kind of this huge push with generative AI and just AI in general that's really driving the demand for Nvidia and their GPUs. But at the same time, it has investors worried that, hey, how has this company's valuation ballooned so much in the past few months? And what does it mean for earnings? Are we going to see a huge overcorrection? Are we going to continue to be up on this bullish trend that this company is seeing? So before earnings do report tomorrow, I do want to hear from you guys, the viewer. What are you expecting the stock to do tomorrow? Are you expecting stock prices to continue to go up after they report earnings, or do we expect a big crash? I know we keep hearing from all these big bears that Nvidia is completely overvalued and is going to be tanked after earnings, but I definitely want to hear your results. In my opinion, though, I want to say Nvidia in the long term, I'm still very bullish in the company. This is my number one position in my portfolio. I think it's closer to like 15, between 12 to 15% of my portfolio. So I'm super happy with this position. In the short term, though, I believe volatility can really impact this stock dramatically in forms of its price. So I'm prepared for either the worst or the best. So I have no crystal ball here. I'm going to go whatever direction it goes is going to be a big one. But watch it. Tomorrow is going to be the most non-eventful and the stock barely moves. So the first news that I have here is on May 23rd, when Microsoft and Nvidia kind of talked a little bit of how generative AI is really pushing the needs for certain software and hardware development, and how these two companies are partnering up. They do mention that Microsoft right now is having a developers conference, Microsoft Build, and Nvidia and Microsoft showcase a suite of advancements in Windows 11 PCs and workstations with Nvidia RTX GPUs to meet the demand of generative AI. And this is one thing, right? We are seeing right now that data center GPUs like the H100 have really seen a huge growth in demand from this AI market. But one thing that I've been talking about in the past few episodes of Nvidia is how this generative AI push is also going to push a huge demand for their consumer products. And I think we're seeing that right now, how laptops and workstations with Nvidia RTX, which are the gaming or the consumer graphics cards, are also going to have some form of solutions or some form of improvement to really kind of push this generative AI market that we're in right now. They kind of talk a little bit of how not only hardware optimization, but also software optimization is becoming an important play here for AI generative loads. And we know that Nvidia as a whole is also a software company, and they kind of talk a little bit of how they are developing both with Microsoft's kind of generative AI model solution platform and their own software optimization for their hardware, and how in certain instances, for example here with Stable Diffusion Performance, with recent optimized versions of the software, they're able to see 2 times the new driver performance. So I think it is interesting. And again, this is gonna continue to show that bullish case. And not only, again, I want to hit the nail on this really hard, because right now many just believe this generative AI is only gonna drive demand for high performance and server GPUs, but we're also seeing it going to continue to grow demand for the consumer market GPUs. So even though the consumer product or the consumer market electronic might still be weak, we are going to have engineers, scientists, other forms of data analytics, and other forms of data and machine learning scientists go and pick up some of these consumer GPUs to kind of help increase their workloads, and not really depend on that server products at the moment. So I think that's really big news. Outside of that, we also did hear on May 18th that GeForce RTX 4060 family is here and is starting at roughly $300. So that's some great news, right? It again gives me this ideal scenario that's happening right now, that the market is really grabbing onto these consumer GPUs. So when Nvidia released their 4000 series, they started with the top end, the 4090, the 4080, the 4080 Ti, and those were at a heavy price point. I do believe that now we're seeing a huge demand, not a huge, but we're seeing a demand pick up on their consumer graphics cards for the reasons that I mentioned before. And now they're releasing kind of their cheaper line, the 4060. They do mention that they're also going to be releasing the 4060 Ti, and they kind of give some reference of how much better they are than previous generations. Some people might not like it, but I do believe this is going to be great news for their consumer market. And in general, I do believe because we're seeing news like this, the company is going to give us another sequential guidance upgrowth for the consumer market. The real question is, how much of that growth are we going to see in quarter one, and how much is expected in quarter two? They do mention that the GeForce RTX 4060 line will be released in May 24th, the other one in July, and the other one also in July. So there's 3 variations here. Next, we do have some more Microsoft and Nvidia news. These two companies are becoming really strong, are having a strong partnerships, right? And it's not only in the server side, it's not only in the consumer side with their Windows, right, and their consumer GPUs, but also on the gaming side. So one thing that we saw a few weeks ago or a few months ago was that Microsoft and Nvidia were teaming up on this 10-year agreement to kind of bring clouding games into GeForce Now. Microsoft and Nvidia just announced that the first titles are coming out already, and more should be coming out on Thursday, May 25th. I do believe things like this will help kind of grow the GeForce Now membership, and again, it's going to continue to grow that clouding market for Nvidia. The other thing that I thought was pretty interesting is within this GeForce Now app, which is their clouding app, they are going to make it easier and better for gamers to find games at a discount or be able to purchase games. So I do believe this in-store, even though it's going to be minuscule, it's going to be another form of revenue. I'm pretty sure Nvidia is going to take some form of cut if they sell a game, just like any kind of merchant platform. When you buy a game, when you buy something, they take a position or a cut. So I do believe this is going to continue to help grow Nvidia in their gaming segment. So there are a lot more stuff that I am going to take a closer look at. But first, I just want to say thank you so much for the support. Make sure to hit the thumbs up if you are enjoying the video. Make sure to subscribe. I'm trying to hit 30,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Also, if you want to learn more about the semiconductor market, make sure to join the membership. I have it up here. You can just click join.
Finally, I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so now we're going to get into the pretty cool stuff. We're going to talk a little bit more about AI and high performance and server markets. There was an article that did come out on May 21st of 2023, where Nvidia kind of showcases that, hey, their products are so much better in forms of power efficiency compared to the normal, right? So right now, when we're seeing a lot of servers, and this is pretty interesting, most servers sold right now are usually only CPU based. Not all servers built right now are sold with some form of CPU, and this is a market that, in my opinion, can grow dramatically. So for example, they do mention that a server with 4 A100 GPUs got about 12 times the speed up over a dual socket x86 server. So that's good. And overall, that performance and speed up is going to help save in power and energy efficiency. So I do believe Nvidia is going to continue to use this line and use this kind of market of, hey, you're a big tech player, but you also want to save the environment and you also want to be power efficiency because it's going to help your wallet at the same time and make you look like a great person. Well, stop using just x86 CPU products. You got to get some GPUs because if not, you're bad for the environment and you're going to be bad for energy efficient. And I think Nvidia is going to continue to kind of sell it this way. Overall, GPUs are definitely an amazing product, but then this is just going to be another way for them to continue to have that selling point. Next, we did see that Nvidia's Grace, their CPU platform that is expected to be released in the second half of this year, got another wind. Nvidia announced that a supercomputer built on Nvidia's Grace CPU superchip is adding to a wave of new energy efficient supercomputers based on the ARM Neoverse platform. So the supercomputer is going to be the Eisenbar 3, which is located in UK and will feature roughly 384 ARM-based Nvidia Grace CPU super chips. So I think this is great news. It's going to continue to showcase how Nvidia, even in the CPU space, will be able to gain some form of, or will be able to play in this market, even though AMD and Intel are pretty dominant players in this space. Nvidia doesn't believe they're going to take any form of huge market shares, but they do believe that in certain niches, the Nvidia Grace CPU will be a huge win. There are a lot of other supercomputers that don't run on Intel, that don't run on AMD, that run in some external ARM-based CPU processors, and I do believe that's the market share NVIDIA is really going to take. For example, the Eisenberg 2, so the previous version of the Eisenberg 3, was also an ARM CPU supercomputer, but it was using HPE's Fujitsu's CPU processors, the A64 processor, so we can see how Nvidia is taking market share from maybe some of these ARM-based CPU players. So I think that's great news. Kind of for pushing a little bit more, we did hear some news on May 21st that Nvidia is partnering up with some players to kind of increase their quantum computing workloads, especially since Nvidia has that quantum computing platform called CUDA Quantum, right? So, or Q Quantum, which is an open source programming model to simulate some form of quantum computing. Because we're still many years ahead from that, but again, we continue to see this partnership and how Nvidia is innovating for the future. Now, kind of pushing on to some more supercomputer news. Nvidia's Cambridge 1 AI supercomputer that Nvidia built in UK, I believe in 2020, is now going to be joining Nvidia DGX Cloud, enabling broader access across more domains. So again, this is just the great thing about Nvidia. They continue to create new solutions to bring their products to other avenues. And the DGX Cloud is probably going to come at a subscription-based revenue and is going to give them a more money resource for them. So continue to see Nvidia win with their DGX Cloud, which was announced a few quarters ago, and we continue to see momentum in here. Finally, I do want to see two big companies that are really important in the enterprise market have announced some form of partnership with NVIDIA for generative AI. For example, ServiceNow and NVIDIA announced partnership to build generative AI across enterprise ITs. And we saw today on May 23rd of 2023 that Dell Technologies and NVIDIA introduced Project Helix for secure on-premises generative AI solutions. So, I mean, NVIDIA at the moment is definitely the king or queen here of the AI market, and they're gonna continue to hold the crown. In my opinion, there's no one near their level at the moment. The real question though is how much has the stock price run up, or who knows, maybe based on this new market is still undervalued. But obviously in forms of current metrics, this company looks extremely overvalued. Again, in the short term, I feel like this is a company that's going to be very bullish, very volatile, and there can be some huge upside and downside swings. On the long term, though, I believe that this is going to be continue to be one of my best and favorite investments, at least for the foreseeable future, as we continue to see some nice generative AI and just AI push in general. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.